Hashem. Anyway, yesterday we had a very interesting shaila. Reb Chanina, he said that we were speaking about being makim. How you go ahead and you make him. He said that this usually is one of two ways. You go ahead and you say this nether is fine. I like this nether, or you say that what you don't say anything. And the assumption is if you don't say anything, that you are you're acquiescing to a nether. Said Reb Chanina, it's possible for you to go ahead and keep quiet for the purpose of going ahead and let your wife stew in her nether. Why would you do that? To go ahead and teach her that it's the wrong thing to do. So Rabbi Chanina suggested that one can do that. In other words, even though you weren't making the nether, made for the nether the day you heard it, right? You weren't making the nether, you weren't made for the nether, but you went ahead, you let it sit. And if you had in mind to go ahead and take it off, you could take it off 10 days later. Okay? That was Rabbi Chanina's opinion. The Gemara will question that opinion. We're up to 2 lines from the bottom on Ayin Ches Amid Beis. 2 lines from the bottom. Again, we're questioning Rabbi Chanina's opinion that one could possibly go ahead and not mefer on the date that he heard it in order to make his wife stew in the juice. Says the Gemara, Masav Rav Chisda. There's a chumrah that being mekim a neder has over being made for a neder. And it's a chumrah that hafara has over hakama. Okay, chaymer behekem. What's the chumrah that hakama has over hafara? Amid Aleph. Shehashtika mikayemes. If you're quiet, you're mikayem. Ve'in shtika mivateles. But shtika cannot go ahead and be mevatel. In other words, in order to be mefer, you have to verbalize the hafara. You can't think hafara. You can't think hafara. You have to verbalize hafara. Whereas hakama, you in fact, being quiet, can go ahead and accomplish hakama to keep your wife's nether in vogue. Says the Gemara, kayim beliboy kayim, hafa beliboy aina mufar. So as a result, if you're mekayim the nether, kiyim beliboy kiyim, it's mekuyim. And hafra beliboy einad mufer. That's what the chayre. That's what it means. That what you didn't go ahead and verbalize it. Good. Kayim in yachal hafer and yachal kayim. So kayim, if you're mekayim a nether, you're not able to take off the nether. Hafer, but if you take off the nether, ein yachal kayim. Okay, so we have chumras that so one chumra is that hakama has over hafara. That the act of shtika can be mekayim the neder as opposed to afara. Another chumrah is that you can mekayim a neder in your heart, in your leiv, and the other one is the exact same thing, and you can't be made for belief. Good. Kayim and yachal hafer. This last one is not a chumrah, it's just a din. If you're mekayim a neder, you can't be made for the neder. If you're made for the neder, you can't be mekayim the neder. Because either way, you can't do it. So that's just more than agav the other ones. So, okay. Now, nonetheless, what's the kasha? Kitani, shashtika mikayemes. Now, yesterday, guys, we said there were 3 possibilities of shtika, right? The shtika lekayem, the shtika to be mevatalit, and then the shtika stam. Good. So now, when it says shtika mikayemes, which one are we talking about? Right? That shtika is mikayem the nether. What are we speaking about? My love, shaisek al menas lemekat. Are we not discussing the act of being silent for the purpose of going ahead and angering her? But really, you want to take off the nether. So, and nonetheless, it says that shtika mikayemes. In other words, the nether is mikoyim. It doesn't go ahead. Again, you asked the same kasha yesterday. We have to. If that possibility exists, we will now. You'll go through the other possibilities, but right now, in the flow of the Gemara, since that possibility exists, and it says what mikayemes, so obviously you don't have 10 days. You can't go ahead and allow your wife to stew. It's over. Once the day is over, you're finished. That's basically what we're saying. Once the day is over, you're finished. Says the Gemara, loy v'shaisik al menas lekayim. Okay, so now we'll assume that No, since there's 3 possibilities, I'll assume it's the other one. That you was shoysik al menas lekayim. If I was quiet in order to be mekayim the nether, so the nether after the day shamay is mekoyim. Says the Gemara. 1 second. Hainu kayim belibo haim kiyim belibo kiyim. Guys, look at the top line. Shashtika mekayemes, and now you're learning, guys, what? If you're shoysik al menas lekayim, good. Next line, kiyim belibo kiyim. Isn't that the exact same thing? Kiyam beliboy, you're Mekayim in your lave. What does lave mean? You didn't open your mouth. You were quiet, and you were Mekayim believe. It says Kiyam. So Bishleim, if you tell me the top line, Shashtikim Mekayemis, is speaking about Shoisik Amanasla, make it like Reb Chanina, and now we're Kashan Reb Chanina. But therefore, you told me a second case, Shoisik Amanasla Kayim. But if you're telling me Shtika Mekayemis, what? Why would you repeat the same thing? Right? Ella must be a Kashan Reb Chanina. That what? In fact, that what? That is Mekuyim. But there's a third possibility, guys. Ella, what do you have to say? No, but Shoisik Stam. If you try 6 times, no, again, went through Sugya. You assume the two possibilities, Ken Zain, no. Ken Zain, Shtika Mekayemis is Shtika Stam. Shtika Kayim, Belev Kiyim. What about Shosak Almanas Lemeka? No, Enochinami there. Enochinami, you'd have 10 days. Okay, at least, that's, I don't know if 10 days is Lav Dafka. And it says the Gemara Vaita. Let's leave the kasha for a second and just go back to explain the brisa. The brisa, we explained the chumrah that hakama has over hafara. What's the chumrah that hafara has over hakama? Again, we explained the chumrah that hakama has over hafara, that shtika machiyemes but it can't be mevatlet. But there you have to verbalize. Okay, what's the chumrah that hafara has over hakama? Says the Gemara. Right. Ashkechin stam ashken choyme behokim mebehofer. What about behofer mebehokim? Now we know over here means what is it? What is the chumrah again? Lashon Nedarim Mishuna. What is the chumrah that hafara has over hakama? So I'm Rabbi Yochanan nisholen ala hakom. You're able to be shoyal on hakama. Ve'in nisholim ala hafer. If you go to after you make him a neder, if you go to a chacham, the chacham can take off the neder. But once you take off the neder, there's no shayla on that. There's no taking off on that. Okay, there's no din of shayla. So that's the chumrah on what on that one has over the other. Masa Rav Kahana. So Rav Chanina has held serve. Rav Chanina has held serve. Just want to see. I think it's right. It's a beautiful lashon of Iran over here. Let's look at the Ran. Hafa b'liba eino mufarat sheyetz b'saf. So 3 lines from the top. B'nira b'einai. The Yafinan law mishtika diyam shamay. Where do we know this din from? That if you meifa believe it doesn't work, but if you meifa you make him believe it does work. Where do you know that from? Right? The Yafinan law mishtika diyam shamay she miskayemes. That if you're quiet on the day of you hear the neder, that's mekuyim. The time of my mishum. What's the reason if you're shosak, fellas, that the neder is mekuyim? The kimin sha'ava yom shmiya. Since the day passed that you heard it. And you didn't do anything about it, you didn't take it off. Gali Adaite, you're revealing, fellas, when the neder is made, the status quo is there. You have to actively go and take it off. If I leave the status quo, so automatically it's mekuyim. Why not? I didn't do anything. It's in a state of kiyum. So therefore, if you don't do anything, it stays. Alma, kol shebelibay l'kaimay sagi. Therefore, since in your lave, it's enough because you haven't changed the status quo. It's there, it stays there as long, and so therefore, if you thought in your mind to Mekayim the neder, it works. Elo, however, the Yavle Rachmana kol ahu yuma lafara. The neder is Mekuyim, but the clock ticks. You got a day to take it off. Mishum the ad arba shimsha until the sun sets. Like muchach midi sheyehei roitz l'kayim. The dilma basa hachi meifala. Even the basa daite b'lchudas linan. So they may look like this. You make a neder, guys. The neder is there. There is a day to take off this neder. Now, every single minute that goes by, there's no hechrich that he's not going to take off the neder. He has a full day to take off the neder. He has a full day. He can take it off. Once he doesn't take it off, automatically it remains what it was, which is a neder. So it's like the act of Yimakayim, because he knows that he won't be able to take it off. Says let's finish the Ran. Keeping the basadaiti b'luchurasnena. Umina the chol shekayim beliboy kayim l'alter the hayvelek ilu aba yom shmiya. So what happens, guys? What happens? She makes a neder at 6 a.m. At 9 a.m., you know what you say? In your heart, you say, I want it. So what did you do? you took the day, let's say in a perfect day, 6 p.m. would have been the nighttime. You took 6 p.m. and you knocked it out to 9 a.m. That's what you did. You took the day and you closed it out. That's exactly what you did. That's what the act of Kiyum does, believe. In other words, guys, outside, look at me. Look at me. You have a state of being Mekuyim. It's going to stay in that state until you decide otherwise. Good? Mm-hmm. Once you decide otherwise, there's two ways you can decide. Either to be made for the neder or being Mekayim the neder. But since the status of Kiyum is there already, you don't have to verbalize it because you don't have to change it. All I have to do is I'm giving a waiver on my day. I'm waiving my right. That's so once at 9 a.m. in my scenario, I went ahead and said in my heart, it's Mekuyim. What did I do? I shortened the day. I can't, once I'm a kind of neder, I can't be made for the neder. I'd have to go to a chacham for a Torah. I can't be made for. So I took the gift of day and I made it a shorter day. That's why Kiyum Belev works. Masha'enkin hafara, which you're going ahead and changing those status quo, that doesn't work. Guys, it's a very nice hezbollah. The Ran is being ma's very nice thing, right? It's good. Okay, back in the Gemara, I'm going to question Reb Chanina. Back in the Gemara, let's question Reb Chanina. Okay. The pasuk says the following: the im hacharesh yacharish la isha miyom el yom. If the husband, he'll quiet her, double lashon on miyom el yom. Vehekim es kol nedareha, and he will be making her neder. He will be mekayim a neder. Oh yes, kol esareha asher Allah. Even a shua. Hekim isa ki hechrish la biyom shamo. Okay, so this is the pasuk of Hakama, and notice it says 3 times in the pasuk the lashon of hechrish. It says, guys, it says hacharish yacharish, and it says ki hechrish la biyom. So we're using the lashon word of silence. It says the Maser Rav Kahana. Again, we're asking Reb Chanina, guys. What did Reb Chanina say? That if you go ahead and you go ahead and the Yom Shamo, you have in mind that you're going to be made for it a later day, you just want to let it stew in a juice, that's okay. Maser Rav Kahana. You know what? He's quiet. We're speaking with a person who was what? Reb Chanina's case. Okay, we have a double lashon, guys. Guys outside. From hachrish yachrish law, if he's quiet, it's mekuyim, the first pasuk. Good. What's the two? It must be 2 types of what? Of 2 types of being silent, right? 1, right, where he's shasag amanas l'kayim. 2, shasag amanas l'mekat. And you see, it's mekuyim. Not like Reb Chanina that you have more time. Again, the pasuk is saying that day, miyom al yom, 24 hours, whatever you're going to hold. If you learn it's 24 hours, we'll hold this one day, machloikis, whatever it is, the pasuk says mefurish. If you're quiet, the neder is what? Mekuyim. What's the 2 possibilities of being quiet? 1, being machrish almanas, being shasak almanas le mekim. 2, shasik amanas lemek, which is to go ahead and let it stew. And it says nonetheless it's mekuyim. That's a kasha of Chanina. Why are you going to ask? There's a 3rd possibility. Maybe the other 2 is speaking about that. So what's the tiyufta? Says the Gemara, the lukim ha b'shaisik almanas lekayim ha b'shaisik stam. Again, as we've been speaking out in Shir, there are 3 variables. So why do you opt to only the 2? Maybe the 2 are is shaisik stam and shaisik almanas lekayim, but almanas make it what would not be mekuyim. It says the 3rd time the hachrish. Beautiful. So there this is a tiyufta. This is a knockout blow on Reb Chanina. This is the first knockout blow, guys. So we have. It says hachrish 3 times, guys. Right? What does it say? Guys, look at me. It says hachrish 3 times, and it says the neder is mekuyim. 1 hachrish is for shasik almanas lekayim. 1 is for shasik stam, and 1 is for shasik almanas lemekat, which is a Chanina. And nonetheless, it says mekuyim. Not after 10 days, after Yom Shamo. That is the upshlag on Reb Chanina. Another upshlag on Reb Chanina. Read the Gemara. Okay. Masiv Rava. Nodra im chashecha. you make a neder right before nightfall. You have until it comes nightfall. Again, this was the chumrah. We said that ataras nedarim. It's not many days. This is im chashcha before nightfall. You have to take it off. This is, remember, lahakol lahachmir, Yankel. This is the hachmir. We have very small period of time. Now, she'im loy hafer v'chashcha. If you're not mefer and you're quiet, einu yachol hafer. Amai lavi kishoysik amanas lemekat. Guys, I want to take it off, but I don't have a span. Guys, look at me. Guys, look at me. I make a neder my wife makes a neder at 6 a.m. at 6 p.m. and 6:30 it's going to be too late. I have a half hour to take off this neder. Good. What happens if I want to take it off? I just didn't. Right? I didn't. A very small window. Comes afterwards. I'd love to take it off. Isn't that the same as being shasak and want to take it off later? I want to take it off, right? I want to take it off, but I didn't get a chance to take it off. So l'chayra, it should be no different. And nonetheless, it says what? You can't do it. That the net is mekuyim. So you see a raya, you don't have 10 days. You only have till chashecha. The yufta, it's a second upshlag on Reb Chanina. Maser Rav Ashi, a third upshlag of Reb Chanina. Yodea ani sheyesh nedarim. Guy says, I know there's nedarim. I know my wife has nedarim. But any yodea sheyesh mafirin. I didn't know that you can be made for nedarim. I knew there's a parsha of nedarim, but I don't know you can be made for nedarim. Yodei ani sheyesh mefirin, aval any yodei sheyesh a neder. I didn't know that was a neder. Meir oimer lo yafer. Meir says that what? In the first case, aval any yodei sheyesh mefirin yafer. You could take it off. That first case where you don't know the halacha, that's not considered yom shamo, guys. If you don't know the halacha of afara, guys, if you know there's a neder, but you don't know there's the din of yom shamo, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. Now, what about this? You know that yodei ani sheyesh mafirin. I know there are mafirin. I will any yodei she's a neder, but I don't know there's a neder. Now, once you know there's mafirin, you know there's yom shamo, right? So therefore, you can't take it off. When you again, if you know there's a din of afara, but you didn't know it was a neder, again, it's like I would want to take it off. Had I known, I'd want to take it off, which is the case of shasak lemeka. And the Gemara says, so tiyufta, it's a tiyufta on sai from Rameya, and the Ran speaks out sai from the Chachamim. It's a tiyufta. Now the question is, once you got a guy down, why do you have to keep on knocking him down? Right. So the Ran speaks out, and this is b'chol Torah kula, because in case you show up with a teretz for one, there'll be a tiyufta from the other. Right? He's out. We say it all the time. Yom Shamo, that's it.
No, but the Baal didn't know that what she said constitutes a neder. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Why is that Avanas Lamek? How does that become similar to Avanas Lamek?
In the sense that you're able to go ahead. I didn't know something, but if I known, I would have taken it off. That's what Shasak Amanas Lamekim. I'm being quiet. I'm asked to take it off. The same thing. It's all I'm asked to take it off. That's what it is. You know, both cases over here.
Avanas Lamek is. I had the tzushtel is that you can get a more period of time than the Yom Shamo, and over here you can't get more period of time. Even though had I known a certain fact, I would have had more period of time, right? So the fact over there is I want to let it stew in the juice. The fact over here is I didn't know the halacha. That's it. Just not a total dimya. Just Hajalech Marasa. We're up to the last parak in Nedarim. Not the last parak in Nedarim. Okay, so there's a chumash here. Oh, never, always know when you don't need it. Yeah, sure. Okay, in the parsha of Parshas Matos, the parsha of Nedarim, we find two parshas. So you notice Afara, but it's not a universal din. Afar is not a universal din. You cannot take off every single neder. There's two types of nedarim you could take off. Labrios. Don't play hard to get. Okay, Yud Gimel. Vim hafe yafa oisam isha biyom shamo. That's not the pasuk I want. Pasuk Yudalet. Okay. Kol neder v'chol shvua iser la'anos nefesh. Any neder or any shvua iser la'anos nefesh. La'anos nefesh means that it's ini nefesh that pains her. So the nefesh, there's one of the nedarim. The pasha of nedarim is ini nefesh. You could take off what ini nefesh. The second type of neder you could take off is a pasuk Yitzayin. Ela achukim asher tziva Hashem es Moshe bein ish leishtay bein av lebitay bin ura beisavia. The second type of neder you can take off is bein ish leishtay. That's the varim beino lebeina. Things of a personal nature that affect their relationship. So there are two. Okay, there are two parshas. The parsha of what of Ini Nefesh and the parsha of beino lebeina. So today we're going to see a Mishnah, and that leads to a very difficult Gemara tomorrow. I did tomorrow's daf, guys. Very, very difficult tomorrow, but Bez Hashem with Hashem's Siyat L'Shmai will explain it. Okay, so now, the Elu Nedarim Shu Mefer. We notice the din of Afaro. We discussed it. What is the type of Nedarim that you can be made for? Elu Nedarim Shu Mefer. The Varim Sheish Ben Ini Nefesh. It's something that what has Ini Nefesh. What's an example? Now, I'm going to give you an example that is so cryptic in nature, you have a whole block Gemara to explain it. So if you don't understand it, you're all in good company. Says Gemara. So Ini Nefesh. Im erchatz, if I'll wash, vim lo erchatz, if I won't wash. That's Ini Nefesh. Im iskashet, if I'll adorn myself, vim lo iskashet, I won't adorn myself. That's Ini Nefesh. Amar Rabbi Yosi, says Rabbi Yosi, Ein elu nidrei Ini Nefesh. These are not nidarim of Ini Nefesh. These are not. In other words, he disagrees about washing. And in fact, we're going to see, he says washing is not Ini Nefesh. Ini Nefesh, not Yom Kippur, not just regular. Now, this is in the old days. It's not when people took a shower every single day or twice a day, right? This is in the old days, and as we're going to see, Rabbi Yossi is of the opinion that it's not Ini Nefesh, not to wash. The Elohei Nidrei Ini Nefesh. So according to Rabbi Yossi, what exactly are? If not washing is not Ini Nefesh, and not being miskashed is not Ini Nefesh, according to Rabbi Yossi, what is Ini Nefesh? The Elohei Nidrei Ini Nefesh. Amra, she says, Koinim Peiros Olam Alai. All the Peiros of the world are koinim, are like a carbon to me. So not to eat Peiros is Ini Nefesh. Harizeh Yachal Lahafer. She's able to go ahead. He is able to take it off. That is Ini Nefesh, or being unable to eat fruit. All the Peiros to the whole world. Why is it too general? She would not be able to eat any Peiros. Peiros Medina Zualai. The Peiros of Israel, the Peiros of Chile, the Peiros of Florida are also upon me. So what do? If that he can't take off, that's not eating nefesh because there's another way. Peiros Chenvani Ze'alai, the Peiros of Costco are also upon me. Any yachal because you can go to Trader Joe's, right? Or Wolf's. You can't get credit by Trader Joe's. You can't get credit by Costco, but Wolf would give you credit. Then you could be able to go ahead and be made for the neder. Why? Because that's like the oilam. That's your only game in town. That's the only place you can go, and that would be in the nefesh. These are Rabbi Yossi. These are words Rabbi Yossi. The Gemara is going to explain why it was necessary to repeat this. Okay. So again, we're defining inu nefesh as something that is herself. That's inu nefesh on herself. We did not discuss that Nedarim Beino Leveina, which we will introduce in a minute, right? We didn't discuss that. And we had a machlokes between the Tanakam and Rabbi Yossi. What constitutes what? The Nedarim of Inu Nefesh that you're capable of, the Baal's capable of removing through Afara. Says the Gemara. Nidrei Inu Nefesh, who the Mefer? She'ein Behem Inu Nefesh, Ein a Mefer. Mashma, guys, the only type of neder he could take off at this point in time is what is Inu Nefesh. What about Devarim Beino Leveina? Oh, Iva Tanya Bein Ish Leishtay Bein Av Lebitay Melamed Shabal Mefer Nedarim She Beino Leveina. So how could you limit the Mishnah and tell me that the only game in town is Inu Nefesh when we know from a pasuk, right? Bein Ish Ve'ishtay Bein Av Lebitay that he's able to take another type of neder. If it's one of a personal nature between the relationship that shares him, that he also could take off. So what's shot in our Mishnah that only says Inu Nefesh?
So the Gemara is going to give one attempt, fail, and then we'll give a final attempt. Omar, halein v'halein mefer, both can be taken off. Sai inu nefesh and sai beino leveina. So why didn't you mention beino leveina? Miu inu nefesh mefer la'olam. Inu nefesh, guys, once you take it off, it's off. Aval ein behem inu nefesh. But if it's not inu nefesh, it's devarim beino leveina. Kid isa tachute. The whole time she is underneath him. Havi afara. Mechim megarish la chayil Allah nadra. Right. Okay, so listen to this, guys. Listen to this. What's the Mishnah saying? Eluhain, the hafara that works forever. There's two types of hafara. There's a permanent hafara and there's a temporary hafara. What's the permanent hafara? If it's inu nefesh and you take it off, you don't have to worry about it. It ain't coming back. It's gone. The varim beino leveina is only there when you're married. As soon as you get divorced, it's hanging around. Now this neder is not beino leveina and it's chal. So therefore, we didn't list it in our Mishnah because our Mishnah is only speaking about the hafara that helps forever. Since the beino leveina doesn't help forever, we didn't list it in our Mishnah. That's the kasher is why not list it? You know, after all, you're saying the Nedarim that you can be made for, and we're saying no. Our Mishnah is only listing the Nedarim that you can take off permanently, but one that's not permanently taken off because there's a possibility after divorce that it should be there. Now, exactly how the lumdus works. Okay, okay. I see your eyes. I'm rephrased. I'm a free safety. Now, the again, exactly the lumdus how that works. Mythically, it's there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a good question. Like it either it is a furrow or it's not a furrow, right? It's either there's not there. It's okay, but anyway, l'chol hapachas, that's pshat in our Mishnah right now. Good, okay. The problem is, I'm going to prove to you that once you get divorced, the neder is not there anymore. So that's why you don't have to lose sleep over it because it's only half a minute. Once the neder, guys, is not there anymore, it's gone. In other words, even if a man would be made for neder beino leveina and then gets divorced, the neder is not there either. So then you got to go back to the original question. So what's pshat in the Mishnah? Why is you said that the only thing you could take off is inu nefesh? There's other beino leveina. Says the Gemara. Okay, now the Gemara just a little extra lashon over here in Nedarim. B'devarim shebeino leveina she'ein behem inu nefesh. Aval yesh beinu nefesh lechal len dadra. No, it's not chal. Says the Gemara. B'devarim she'ein behem inu nefesh ki megarish lechal. Let's say it's the devarim beino leveina. You go ahead and you take it off, and then you get divorced. You mean to tell me the ned is still there? But Tanan, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer, Yafa, you have to take it off. Shem Yigoshen. Okay, what is speaking about over here? A woman is meshubet to her husband. She can make an neder to asa things. She's meshubet to him. Good, she's meshubet to him. So therefore, if she makes a neder, it's not chal. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. And what happens if they get divorced? If you don't take it off, then it would be chal because she's not meshubet him anymore, right? She makes a neder not to have enough. Can't have enough. Meshubet, yeah. Once you get divorced, she's no longer meshubet, so the neder would be there. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Therefore, you have to take it off. So what do you see from Yochanan ben Nuri? Obviously, if you're taking it off, it helps. It's gone. Obviously, like let's see the Ram. Let's see the Ram. But Tanya, Yochanan ben Nuri, Yafa. Maslisin he behind Pirkins the Mishnah later on. For Ketani Reisha, Koinim Shani Oisa Al Pich. Anything that I do is Koinim. Ain't it tzarich lafa? Her husband doesn't have to take it off. Why? The Mishabdale, she's meshubet to her husband. Ba'almui Rabban l'shibude, and the Rabbanan strengthen the shibud the Baal. Shloi yafkenu koinim, that hard koinim cannot take it off. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, no yafa, you have to take it off. Shem lo yafa yachal neder k'shi geshana. When he divorces her, it will be chal. If it asur la'achsa by and be asked to take her back. Shem yahani mimenu, maybe he'll have enough from her. Mishum hachis yafa, take it off. So what do you see from Yochanan ben Nuri? That there is no neder. So guys, we're breaking your premise. Look at me. Your teretz was the following. The reason why we didn't list the varim beino leveina in our Mishnah because we were only discussing a one that is permanent. Inu nefesh permanent, beino leveina is not permanent. We're saying now beino leveina is also permanent. Where do you see that? From the words of Yochanan ben Nuri. Don't let a neder hang around because maybe you'll get divorced and then the neder will be chal. So what do? Take it off. And that'll guarantee when you get divorced, the neder is not there. So what do you see? When you get divorced, the neder is not there. So we're back to the original question. Why didn't we list Bein Lo in the Mishnah? After all, they could be mad. Initially, Ishtai is a neder. The same with Lalas Nefesh is a neder, and you can take it off. So, and for the Gemara, there's another chiluk. Okay. Amar. Okay. Halein v'halein havi afara. Both afara. Whether it's for guys for inei nefesh or whether it's the bar bein lo beina, there's Ella nidre inei nefesh mefer bein la'atzmoi bein la'acherim. Amen inei nefesh li'atzmoi mefer la'acherim eina mefer. If it's something that is totally up to inei nefesh. If she goes ahead, guys, it's inei nefesh, and he takes it off, and someone else marries her, there's no neder. If it's the Devarim Beino Leveina, he takes it off, you're right. For him, there's no neder if he remarries her. What happens if another person marries her? That's why we don't want to learn it. In other words, the whole hafara is what Beino Leveina. What happens if it's Beino, the Acher, and another guy? It would be there. You're still stuck. You say afar is afar. I know you. She made
any other man. She made it to him.
No, she can make a neder.
Why is wearing that other
Again, you have to see the type of neder. We'll discuss the type of nedarim, but here's the difference. No, again, listen to the teretz. She makes a neder. If it's inei nefesh, that neder is gone. She remarries. Kaput. If it's a dvarim beina leveina, if it's something between him and her, the neder is still there. It's mufar as long as they are together. Once they're no longer together, whatever neder she made is in vogue. And if she marries a second husband, it's still there. And therefore, our Mishnah was learning what? Only nedarim that are finished, not nedarim that possibly can come back to another person.
Stipulation on the ksuba?
No.
Not technically, because it's a double. The ksuba is a double, right?
What do you mean?
This ksuba that's to the new husband was never around. So how could it be now for the new husband?
Again, when a guy would go ahead and get married, he wants to make sure there's no nedarim on it, and he can't be made for the koidman.
It's like a lien on her. It's like
it's there. It's not gone. It's gone. In other words, the easiest way out in the Balabath cup, like we all think, is gone. You take an eraser, you erase it, the net is not here anymore. That's semi-correct. It's not totally correct. Because we're going to get into this, but the Varim Beino Leveina, well, we'll get more and see what it is. Again, it's still in existence. It's still around.
Why is it get by the original?
Take a look at Rashi. Guys, take a look at Rashi. Take a look at Ran. Aval ein bohem ini nefesh ela devarim shebeino leveina la'atzmai mefer la'acher mina mufer. Says the Ran, the kivin shenisas la'acher, once she marries somebody else, but la hafara delay, his hafara is batal. The chayil nadra, and the nether is schal. One more time. The kivin shenisas la'acher, she's marrying somebody else, but la hafara, her hafara is gone. Delay, his hafar is gone. The chayil nadra, the hachi kamar. And here's the way you read the Mishnah. Be'elu devarim shehu mefer bein la'atzmoi bein la'acherim. The kim the tani mefer stama hafar elamis mashma. So guys, look back. Look at the right. Look at Ayin Testament Aleph. Look at the Mishnah. Be'elu hein nedarim shehu mefer. What does mefer mean to you? Does it mean one that's permanent or one that's wishy-washy? Permanent. Good. Which one is permanent? The Varm Sheish Ben Ini Nefesh. You know why? Because Beina Leveina is not permanent. That's Pshat. Okay, Bez Hashem, tomorrow we have a really difficult daf. Anyone who wants to listen, it'll be in the morning.